Hi, I'm Maddie Sloane and welcome to the new season of Snap Happy, the photography show. We're bringing you this season from Kingfisher Bay Resort on the beautiful Fraser Island, and it's certainly the perfect backdrop for a photo adventure. And I'm excited to be joined by Darran Leal from World Photo Adventures. So where are you taking us this series?
We've got some cool photographic spots here on Fraser Island in Australia, but we're also going to Alaska.
So what can we expect to see?
Well, we do this in small groups, so it's a really personal experience that if you go by yourself, you're probably not going to get to see everything that we do. And likewise, if you go in a large group, you're going to miss photographic opportunities. So we saw glaciers, and when I say glaciers, I mean blue ice, really spectacular, bears up close, forests, bubble netting whales, whales breaching.
Amazing, so let's go there now and take a look.
We begin our Alaskan adventure at the port of Wrangell. Our group splits into two vessels that will take us out in search of humpback whales.
I just love Timberwolf. It's got so much power, and when it takes off it really goes, and you know that John will get you there as quickly as possible, and it's just a wonderful experience to be going at that speed across the sound.
Currently we're transiting a body of water called Zenobia Strait, and en route to a larger body of water called Clarence Strait. And we're looking for whale spouts right at the moment. This area, we do see whales frequently through here, so I'm setting my other boat down the Evelyn Island shore, and then hopefully we'll spot some spouts, and then we'll be able to radio each other and then come together to watch these whales and see what they're doing.
We've been motoring along, and here's this island just stood out instantly for us to take our first photographs. So what we're looking at here is the island as the centerpiece. We've got the background with beautiful moody clouds, and of course the beautiful water in the foreground. So we're going to set our cameras to a simple combination of aperture priority, f8, f11, shutter speed will be quite reasonable, 400 ISO, and take some lovely photos. The other one we might consider is a panorama. So in this case, I'm going to do basically the same settings, but I'm going to take my camera to the left initially, do about a 25 to 30% overlap, and sometimes you can do 3, 4, 5, all that sort of thing. I like to shoot horizontally for this sort of work, but occasionally if I want more detail, and in particular if I want to pick up foreground information better, I might shoot that as several vertical images. As we continue our voyage through the sound, John gets a message over the radio.
Okay, so you've got whales down there?
Yeah, we got a couple different groups up by the triplets. We're gonna go
Behind us, whale?
All right, I've got one here, so I'm just gonna hang here for right now. You guys do the same down there.
So all you do with this, guys, is point, shoot, take the shot. Don't hesitate. Okay, if you hesitate, you could miss your opportunity. Diving. We're looking for them to do what they call this bubble netting. And what happens is they dive down deep and they start to bubble net herring, which is their food, and they'll come up together and they breach with their mouths open to eat the herring. And it's a very cool sequence to be able to photograph.
They had hydrophones in the water, so you could actually hear the sound as they came up, started coming up, and then everyone had to be ready because it was just this explosion out of the water. It's absolutely amazing to watch.
I think one of the things that I like the most about it though is it's not scripted, because you don't know where they're going to appear. You might think they're going to appear on the left by watching where the birds are circling, but no, they'll come up on the right of the boat and you have to be ready. We're
shooting them with a long telephoto lens, aperture priority, 5.6, 400 ISO, and we're getting a good shutter speed of about 2,000th of a second.
The other thing that struck me was the actual colour tones there. You think of whales as being white and greys and that sort of thing, but I've actually got shots where there's pink, where the sun apparently causes that pink and white on the throat, which surprised me. And the fact that you can actually in the photo see the baleen, just mind-blowing.
So what we're doing here, we've got some whales that are actually doing a bit of performance for us. One's probably a female, the other's a male. They're fluke slapping, so we've been getting really spectacular photos of that with the mountains as a backdrop. And a male has actually been breaching, and he's breached several times, so the ultimate when you're photographing whales. So again, KISS system, keep it simple. Aperture priority, 5.6, 400 ISO, and let the shutter speed do its own thing. And in this light, it's easily 2 or 3 thousandths of a second. Whoa, look at that.
Even with the lens that I had, which was only 280mm, I was able to get stunning photographs of the whales with their bubble netting, and then also with the breaching I got just some fantastic sharp photographs. I was really impressed with that.
With the whales, you were just continuously shooting until they were under the water. So you've probably got a series of 40 photos to work out that magic one, or as he calls them, the hero shot.
Steve Christo has a very broad photographic portfolio, but he's most well known for his sports photojournalism. He's covered many major sporting events, from the Olympic Games to soccer and rugby World Cups and everything in between. So let's go check out one of his recent projects.
Emma Nedov's story starts with her being in the national team, winning national championships.
I never actually thought that I would be good at it or that I would ever go anywhere near the Olympics, to be honest.
Let's do something where you're flat when you don't need to be in the air, and do something where you're extending just on this side of it. Remember how we had it just on this side?
In 2013, I won the national championships on the balance beam.
Then through injury, she has fallen out of the Australian team.
Two weeks into training, I rolled my ankle doing box jumps. I came back, and about a week into training, as I jumped, my Achilles snapped.
She now is on the mend and working her way back in the national team.
Now my focus is on the Commonwealth Games.
I'm here to document her comeback.
I've been a professional photographer since 1986. Yeah, do you want to do that handstand thing you were telling me about, showing me? And we'll get you to do an extension.
As a child, I always looked at things from a different perspective. I always used to lie on the ground and look at things from an ant's perspective, and then I'd walk up and stand on a ladder and look at things looking down.
So show me what that looks like. Okay, yeah.
Translating that to photography was quite an easy thing. Capturing something that's gone forever has drawn me into photography, and I think that's why I love it so much. I always get this little voice in my head that says, okay, move over to there, that light's going to come across there and it could look really nice. I never go in wanting a certain picture, I just go in there with a clear head. The XH1 is fantastic. It's got a silent shutter, it's got a great stabilisation, feels great in my hand. I'm very pleased with the outcome and how I've photographed Emma today. The pictures are really, really good. I'm very happy with it. It's a great camera.
So Steve, what drew you to sports photography?
There's so much anger and so much sadness in the world. I just wanted to shoot something that wasn't sad or angry or with death or anything like that. I just wanted to shoot something that made people happy.
So tell us about some of these great shots at the Olympic Games.
One of my favourite ones was Usain Bolt winning the 200 in Beijing, and it was just a wide picture of him winning, and he won by such a big margin. The pack were behind him and he's just winning, and he's looking over at his time, and so it's got the time board, him, the pack, and then the stadium and the flame and stuff. So it was something where, normally we would have shot it tight, front on.
Yep. I
just thought, I'm going to go around the side and just have a bit of fun with it.
When you are at these sporting events, are you celebrating or are you focused?
No, you've got to be focused.
Yeah.
You don't celebrate until afterwards and you go, oh yeah, that's a nice picture, or you swear.
Yeah, and you go, oh.
You swear and you go, yeah, beep, I missed it.
Yeah.
So,
you say you don't actually have any of the shots hung up in your house except for one. and it's the wifey's favourite shot.
Yes.
Tell us about that one.
I was shooting the city to surf from a helicopter one year because there's a mass of people and they wanted a crowd shot. It was a lovely, crisp day. The water was really lovely and people were surfing and stuff. And I just said to the pilot, can we go and have a look at the waves? And he said, no. And I said, why not? And he said, because if you miss a shot, then, you know, I'll get in trouble. And I said, no, you won't get in trouble. So he did a turn around and I shot this wave. And yeah, there's 7 surfers coming off the wave and it looks like a waterfall when you look at it. To me, if a picture makes you smile or gives you an emotion, then you've done a good job.
Well, you'll be giving some tips today on how to improve sports photography. Now, where are we?
We're at Sydney Motorsport Park. And
as you can hear.
As you can hear, yeah. We're going to shoot a couple of guys going around the track on some motorbikes, so it'll be interesting.
Well, thanks so much, Steve. Stick around so you can listen to those handy tips. I'm excited because this series of Snap Happy, we have a new weekly segment hosted by photography guru Peter Eastway. He's going to be giving us some insight to his post-production techniques, so let's go chat with him now.
I always think of Maddie with a sparkle in her eyes, you know, and I have a photograph where there's no sparkle.
Yep.
Bit of your Monday look, I think you were mentioning.
Monday-itis.
So we're going to turn you from Monday to Friday and we're going to show how, if you don't quite get it right in camera, we can fix it up in post-production.
Perfect.
So I'll be using the Wacom tablet here. We've got a Mobile Studio Pro, and you can see on the left how you've got a little bit of what they call catch lights in your eyes.
Yep.
And that's because we had you facing the light. But sometimes you can't get that naturally, and we created that by having you face away from the light. So we're going to work in Lightroom, and we're going to lighten up your eyes and give you back that sparkle.
Okay.
So in a nutshell, there are 4 areas of an eye that we can look at. We look at the whites of the eye, we look at the iris with the colour, we look at the little black edge around the edge of the iris, and then there's the catch light. Let's just start with the catch light because that's the one that really has the sparkle. And I'm going to use an adjustment brush, and I'm going to set my exposure to quite light. In this case, we've got a little bit of a catch light on the right, so I'm just going to paint on the right there and lighten that up. And I'm going to do the same on your other eye as well. And so when you see that, you can see that I've really lightened that up, and that's quite a lot. I'm now going to come along and I'm going to add another one, and we're going to look at the whites of those eyes. Now, I don't know whether you had a lot of champagne a lot last night, but don't worry, whether you did or not, we can fix that.
I wish I had champagne.
we can fix that for you. So let's just lighten that up a little bit, and you can see, well, that was a little bit too much. So we'll just knock that down a little bit. Come over to your other eye here and lighten them up. So we're doing this just quick to give you an idea. We're going to move on to the iris itself now. So again, the adjustment brush for the 3rd time. We're going to lighten that. So we're just going to pick the area of colour in your eyes. We're just going to lighten that up a little bit. And then one of the little tricks is just to darken down that little black circle all the way around the outside. So again, we get the adjustment brush, a really, really small adjustment brush now, and we're going to change the exposure down to darken. And we're just going to paint just a little bit of a dark. Oh, that was a little bit too much, wasn't it? Looks like, you know, Dracula. Yeah.
The pen is handy though, because you can get right in there.
The pen just makes it fantastic. But as you can see, we've gone from the Maddie with the great lighting to the Maddie without the great lighting, but it looks pretty incredible.
It does. Well, thanks so much, Peter.
Okay, thanks for being a great model.
Hi, I'm Steve Christo, and this is what's in my Fuji kit. I've got a XH1, and the reason I have one of these is it's a robust little camera. It's got a great focusing system, and it's got a great stabilisation system in it as well. This camera also is very light, so if I'm walking around a track or doing something where I'm long periods on my feet, I'll use this because it's better for your back. That's my A camera. My B camera is an XT2, which is also light and smaller. I use this one if I'm going to shoot something wider. So if I see a landscape that I like, I'll have a shorter lens on this to give me a better view so I don't have to take lenses on and off. And with those, it goes a 100 to 400, which with a 1.4 conversion makes this a 500, 520, I think. And this is great for sports photography because with the zoom you can come in and come out, so you've got your really tight stuff and then you can open up a little and give it a little space to let your picture breathe when you're shooting sport. And this one here is my 16 to 55, and this is also to get wider shots, like more panoramic style kind of pictures. I use my monopod. The reason why I use a monopod is because it's easy to walk around with. With a tripod you've got to put it back together, get up and walk around, whereas with a monopod you don't have to, you just pick up and go. So if something happens somewhere else, you're on the go and you get around very quickly to where you need to be. I'm Steve Christo, and that's what's in my Fuji kit.
Printing your photos really brings them to life, and decorating your own space with your own photos is something really special. So we've called up our favourite interior designer, James Treble. James, how are you?
Very well, very well. I've taken on a role now as co-host on Sky News Real Estate. I've also been really busy. I've got an online interior design course which you can check out if you're interested. So it's not about, giving you the certain style or learning all the rules, and it's not a qualification. It's teaching you tips and tricks. So it's a really good course and it's been going really well.
And you're giving us some tips today?
I sure am.
So let's get inside.
Okay.
We've invited James to the home of a keen photographer to decorate his home with some prints.
So now we're inside, and this living area is actually light filled, and it's a really nice room. And when you're thinking about what wall to put artwork on, I want you to use your eye line. So this is what we do as interior designers. When you enter the room from the front door, you look at the direct wall that your eye catches.
Okay.
And by placing art there, it'll bring you into the space, and they're the best impact that you're going to get when you put art on the wall. So this wall is the key wall, okay? It's nice and strong, and the great thing I love about this particular homeowner, he is already loving art because he's got a hanging system around the house already.
Handy.
You can grab these at the local hardware shop. They're not a lot of money, but they give you lots of adaptability to change your artwork throughout the year.
Nice.
Or change your pieces. Now, this is the one I've chosen.
Beautiful.
This homeowner has got a really great eye. I see a lot of places where it's just generic artwork that all looks the same and they're bought it online. There's nothing personal. This is a beautiful space. And as you look from the front door into here, it just makes you come inside. Now, we're going to hang this about this height.
Okay.
And that beautiful black frame works really well in this house because we've got natural timber framing as well. It's picking that up like eyeliner. And a great tip, Mad, is when you hang artwork, your eye, about an average person's height, you're a little bit taller than me, so it's about 175, 180,
Okay.
something like that centimetres high, is 1/3 of the painting down. So my eyes being about 1/3 down is a natural, comfortable height to hang an artwork in a room.
Now we've got this space behind us. It's kind of awkward, and we've got this door down here as well. What are we going to do?
It is a really weird space, and a lot of people have this sort of space in their home. We've got the angle there because there's a staircase behind this going upstairs, and also that angle there is because that's access to underneath.
Yep.
So I don't want to cover that. I think it looks weird to do that. We've got the hanging system, so I've actually opted for some smaller pieces and creating a bit of a decorative wall, a collage of artworks.
Okay.
Look at this colour. Now, I understand that these are actually flowers from the backyard of this house. And it's great when you're styling at home because if I put this colour on the wall, I could put some orange in the cushions in the lounge room and it helps tie the space together.
Beautiful.
So what I want to do is hang these sort of like this one here and then another one underneath. So I end up with a nice line and perfect. So I think it's time to put some wires on the wall.
Let's get started.
So what did you think?
It looks amazing.
Now, it's really easy for everyone to remember at home. Look at the eye line when you enter the room.
Yep.
Or when you enter a room, any bedroom, living room, look at the walls that you look at. In this case, this is the key wall because you look straight at it. And because of the size of the wall, I went for one large, strong piece and left enough breadth around it all the way.
Beautiful.
This wall was actually a little bit difficult because of the angles. So because there's so many lines here, I reinforced the straight line by putting the upside down L here, and the smaller works work really well and add a lot of fun to the room.
The prints we used today were ordered from the Snapfish website. There are so many different options for printing your photos, and it's really easy to place an order. So what are you waiting for? Happy decorating.
Alright, so we're here at Sydney Motorsport Park and we're shooting top rider training, which is a motorcycle training exercise for people who want to get better at riding. So today on the track we're trying to capture some mood and feeling. So with that we're doing pan shots at a 60th and a 30th. We're getting down on the track and shooting low with the bikes coming in and trying to capture as many different angles as we can so we can see the different versions of what we like and what we don't like. And that's what you should be doing when you're shooting, is actually trying to give yourself as much choice as you can, and then you go and edit, and hopefully you get some great stuff in your edit. We're up here on top of the hill because I want to get on top of the riders and photograph them from above, and then I'm going to do one with a high shutter speed and one with a slow shutter speed to shoot as a pan to see how interesting that is. On this corner, what I was trying to achieve was to try and get as tight as I could on them. So actually freezing them at 1,000th and 2,000th of a second, and also doing another pan just to show movement again at 1/30th of a second. And then you sort of take that philosophy into other sports as well, in freezing action and trying to get mood and stuff in whatever sport you shoot. It can give you an interesting effect. You don't really know what you can achieve unless you try, and that's what it's about. It's about trying different things and trying something new. So a lot of it is trial and error with things and having fun. So just remember, when you're finished on the track, you always come back and you take a few pictures in the pits and around the car park and stuff. It's always a great way to add to your story and to your day. And I hope these tips were helpful.
Thanks for joining us on Snap Happy. If you'd like to join our community, head on over to snaphappytv.com. There you'll find exclusive content, competitions and special offers from all our partners. See you next time on Snap Happy, the photography show.